Hello guys, my name is Goldium and today I'm going to be going over game development journey. So the first one that I'm going to be showing you is my first game that I created using like Unity 2D, and I used a variety of tutorials from Brackeys because I used to at the beginning did 3D tutorials and I was learning a little bit about Unity through that way, but then I realized now I learned better through 2D learning first, and it was a lot easier for me to pick up when I was learning 2D. So first I'll be going over the tutorials that I've used. So essentially the first tutorial I used was I learned through this guy called Awesome Tuds. So because I already gotten through all the basic computer science knowledge, I just went through Unity 2D straight, and I went through the third section as you see right in my computer screen. I learned how basic player animations work, how to use the input to get axes, and how to move characters, and how to create player movement through that route. And his projects are very project-based learning, which I believe is the best way to learn. If you ever watched my web development tutorial, you should also know that project-based learning is the best way to go about learning, as it teaches you how to apply all the knowledge and how to apply certain syntax of code into what project you're creating. So that's the most important about coding. I know it's hard for beginners to get their heads wrapped around this, but it's not about memorizing pieces of syntax and learning how to. It's about learning how to apply and use that knowledge. So that was my biggest issue, which I feel like when you're a very beginner, it is hard to apply. It's hard to even apply the syntax that you learn, because first of all, you first need to understand the code before you apply it, and even just tutorials itself, like watching tutorials, you may not always understand it the first time. So you have to keep on listening, and you have to really research, and this all comes down to self-teaching. And essentially, my first game was Zombie Shooter. You download it as a zip, and when you download it as a zip, now essentially this is my first video game that I created. It isn't all that great, but you have to also recognize that this is my first project, and this is how it first started out. So the player only has 1 health, and if the zombie touches the player, then you die and you play again, right? So it was just using basic like knowledge, right? And then if you shoot the zombies enough, you eventually you basically just shoot the zombies, and then you get zombie kills, right? And then if you reload, you need to reload to get a full ammo, which I also learned that too. So this was a very basic game, I would say. It is really basic. There isn't really anything that goes on around here. But yeah, hopefully this gives you some motivation on how your first game should turn out, as I know some people who have very ambitious goals, their first game ends up like they want it to be like kind of like Call of Duty or something, which that is very unrealistic, because you cannot create games like that at all. First, you need to learn how to code, and then like maybe you can create like just like a moving character. So like a lot of this involves a lot of just experimenting and just like learning by yourself, which I feel like it's hard to always stay disciplined to learn by yourself, but if you want to be a good programmer, this is the way to go. So now, while I'm waiting for my Unity thing to load, I'm going to be discussing about how I started creating the second game. So my second game, the concept is very simple. It's pretty much like a platformer game, except you shoot enemies using like on collision on trigger end turn, like getting the tag, and pretty much creating enemy tags and player tags. And if the player dies, then it will be scene manager load scene, which means that it will just reset to the start scene. So I'm gonna show you right now. So for this one, I ended up spawning over here, which is fine. I was pretty much just testing bits of code. So if you collect coins, it gets put into your coin count. This is just a bazooka I was trying to create. I'm not done this game yet, but hopefully I'll be done. So there's player health, right? So if the player touches the enemy, it loses health. Pretty simple, right? And if the player dies, or if the enemy dies, it also emits particles. So, and also if the player dies, it also emits particles too. So this is what essentially happens. I'm not usually an artist at all, so like I don't really care about how this looks as much as like I more care about the code itself, as there's like a bunch of scripts. Now, as you see here, this thing works. So as these enemies shoot me, I am losing health right now, and I'm now gonna try to fight off the enemy. So if I die, I get reset. As simple as that. So this is obviously a much better game than the previous one, but it's still not the best. The code isn't perfect. Obviously the art is not good at all, which is fine because I can't do art anyways. But yeah, hopefully throughout my second game, I'm right now trying to share the progress that I've been through, and hopefully share it with you guys out there, so then you won't be as demotivated. I'm gonna show you my last and third game that I am creating that is 2D. And so the first thing that you see is that there's actually like a mini map in UI, right? That was not created by me, obviously. We got the art asset somewhere, and then someone also created the UI to make it look really good. So there's actually a itch.io published game of this, the published version, but I'll just go over the one that we created that is not the published one, and then I'll show you like what additions we add. So this game was created with a partner that I had who also knew how to code. And basically the main purpose of the game is to collect as much items as you can, like a lost, because I participated in a game jam which involved the lost and found theme, and it's very interesting actually. You have a timer, there's the score of how far of what you can grab, right? So now find some paper. Where's some paper? Oh no, crap, I need to find some paper. Usually if you see books, those are usually paper or something. Hold on, I don't know why I can't move. Find some cleaning supplies. Okay, find something fun. Let's see. Sometimes I don't really know exactly what is fun. I'll just grab whatever. Right, something big and heavy. Okay, zoom, zoom, zoom. I need something made of metal. So now as you see that, okay, I also have another game running, so that's why it's kind of lagging. But as you see, that was the purpose of the game, is to basically see how far you can get in terms of score. And then, if you want to play again, just press spacebar. So that was like a simple concept of the game. I did quite a bit of the coding, while the other person did did all of the UI and pretty much created all of that part of the animation, because I can't do UI. I don't know how to do animations like this at all. So yeah, I'm only specialized in coding, as you could tell. So yeah, so essentially those are all my free 2D games. Eventually in the future, I want to be creating some 3D games too and learn more about that. I have a 3D game in process that I'll maybe share out to you guys if you guys want to see it. If you don't, then it's also fine too. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll catch you back next time.